And look, why is this important? I will not get up here and actually walk through all, try to convince you that AI is important, because it is. It's everywhere. Every time we open the newspaper and some kind of media, everybody's talking about how artificial intelligence is going to change the world, one way or another. But there's signs of fatigue. People are questioning, where's the value? In fact, I had someone challenge me the other day and say, hey, what happens when it doesn't work? Not going to happen. But we're all wondering, what's the amount of effort that I have to go through to get the payback? And that those of us who have CIOs, we've gone through that. We continue to invest and say, how fast can I get there? And the reason why there's all this confusion is because we're in this cycle called Amara's Law. And if you're not familiar with Amara's Law, it is this. We tend to overestimate the effect of technology in the short run. That's the hype cycle that we're currently in. Everyone's so excited. You see it in the stocks and all the other things. It's a massive hype cycle. And underestimate the effect in the long run. Tell me this. Everyone talks about the dot-com crash in 1999. So, hype cycle, right? Do we all use the internet? Yes. So was it underhyped or overhyped? The internet has changed everything in our lives. And so it went through a stock cycle. That's the hype. Fair enough. But it changed everything we do. Obviously, you're heavily involved in making that happen. And the long-term benefits of artificial intelligence, it will change everything. And if there's one video you should watch, it's this one. It's a TED Talk by Eric Schmidt, who is the ex-CEO of Google. And he says in it, the AI revolution is underhyped. I think he's right. We think he's right. This transformation is so profound, all of us need to be thinking, how do I make the most of it? As he says, most people think of AI as ChatGPT, but that's just the beginning. It's unbelievable what's going to happen. I can't wait until I never drive to the office again. And we are this close. And that's artificial intelligence. It will change everything and everything that we do. And look, the pace of change is scary. It is mind-boggling. If you actually look at this chart, it tracks how long it took to get to 100 million users. Netflix took 10.3 years. Facebook took 4.5 years. ChatGPT, 2.3 months to 100 million subscribers. 100 million. They're now at billions. This is a pace of change that we have never seen in human history. John talked about the waves. This is a whole other conversation. It is like nothing you have ever experienced. And look, the companies realize this, and that's the danger. That's why we invested 100 million while we were so concerned. Because if you read this Economist article, it's about 4 months old, and it really hit me, because the title was, "The Titans Will Not Wait." And what it basically says is they are all convinced that even if their firm or country were to pause or slow down, others would press ahead, so screw it, they might as well too. All this leaves relatively little time and capacity for matters of safety. It's all about the money, let the safety be damned. And so for you and for us, that's a significant concern, and it's top of mind for us. And in fact, as Shane and his organization, our product team, built out everything that we're doing, these were what we focused on over the last 2 years. How do we ensure that you keep ownership of your data? If you don't remember the Samsung event, a technologist, a scientist, basically put patentable information into an AI engine, and then it sucked it in, and as soon as it went in, they lost that patentable information because it's now public. They own it. And in fact, if you listen to the CEO of ChatGPT, he was recently quoted saying, "I am shocked what people put into our AI engine. Shocked. They put their financial records, they put their passwords, they put their health records. It's scary." So this ownership of data is a significant issue. And then how do you protect them from a security and privacy risk? Because you can ensure that AI is being manipulated by bad people. So how do you make it private and secure? And last, how do you stop hallucinations? And if you don't know what a hallucination is, let's be really clear. If you ask an AI question, or AI engine a question, the one thing it will never say is, I don't know. It will lie. Now, in their case, because they're technologists, they call lies hallucinations. It'll make stuff up. And if you don't believe me, go read this article. It's fantastic. It's by Anthropic. And go look up Anthropic AI goes rogue when trying to run a vending machine. So what they did was they put the AI engine into a vending machine. They put it in their office on a floor. And they said, run the vending machine, no controls, no limits, no nothing. Just go. Thing went crazy. It started harassing people on email, breaking their privacy. It started selling things below cost because it didn't know what a profit margin meant. It just knew that it had to sell stuff, right? Started ordering too much inventory, all these kind of things. And then it had an identity crisis and basically blew up. So it's a great article. It's hilarious, right? But it was a fascinating example of if you don't put really great controls in place, you can't actually use AI effectively and in a trusted way. And that is what we have invested in. So over the last year or 2 years, we've put our $100 million into how do we ensure you keep your data private, how do we ensure you're secure, and then how do we eliminate hallucinations by focusing the AI engine on a very specific data set. And when you do that, that's how you get to 95, 96, 97% accuracy. But you have to put the limits in place. And that's what we've implemented into Calix Cloud. And it's really these components. So the first component is what we call a RAG model. And what a RAG model is it allows you to take the brain that's out on the public internet, whatever AI engine you want, so Gemini, rip it out of the internet, block it from talking to the internet, and block it from doing any more learning, so it's like a point in time. And then I pop it into the private cloud, and I focus it on my systems. And what it does is anything that it learns from then on stays inside our cloud. So it doesn't advance Gemini or OpenAI's or any of the other AI engines. It's just in our cloud. And then what we'll do is we grab another, rip and pop it in, rip and pop it in. We will update it, but you're never training the rest of the world. That was the first thing. That's what happened back in November of 2023. We were like, finally, we can do this in a private and trusted way. The next thing that we did was we made a big step forward with data. So in 2019, we launched our second generation cloud. And as with all of us who have technical debt, over time, the architecture fragmented a little bit. We actually, next thing you know, we have 9 databases. It's getting harder to do upgrades, all those things. So part and parcel of this, as the product organization looked at the evolution to prepare for AI, we knew our data needed to be perfect. So we actually went to a single data lake. And then we brought it out. We brought all of that context and information, all that data that I talked about, the 300 data points a minute from the experience edge, all the data that we harvest from the access edge, and then standards, because we're the most open company in the world. We have millions of non-Calix routers inside Calix Cloud. We take all that data and we put it into our data lake. So it sits there. So now we have a good, consolidated, clean data that we can actually focus the AI engine on. The next component that we build is what we call the knowledge layer. And this is really important. So once you have that data, how do you actually have the AI engine do things in a trusted way and not hallucinate? It's by having a great knowledge layer. And what knowledge is think of it as context and correlations and patterns. It's if I have A plus B, it means C. It's how you teach the AI engine around the things that are going on. It's where machine learning lives, which is just patterns. It's where vectors and embeddings, you'll hear those words. But what you just need to know, it's where all the context goes. And what's really important about the knowledge layer is that's what the AI engine is operating with. So it doesn't have to go and basically do a query and look at all the information to make a decision. It goes into the knowledge layer, which is an aggregation of context so that it makes it AI friendly. And then we also made a big step forward, because the industry early this year also solidified around how to share between AI engines is something called Model Context Protocol, MCP. And what that is think of a server in front of a system, and instead of moving your data from system to system, which is a nightmare for all of us, We don't want to have all these databases and all these things and all the data in movement because then I got to clean it. Instead, it does the same thing. It aggregates all the data into the knowledge layer, and that knowledge layer sits in that MCP server, and now we can access it, bring it into our knowledge layer, and our AI engine, your AI engine, can make better decisions. So you're going to see this evolution, and one of the things you all want to be asking your vendors is, hey, when do I get my MCP server so that I can have access to the data so you can share it across AI? So we made that investment. We stuck with standards, and MCP as a standard, so we could aggregate that knowledge and have the best AI engines for outcomes. And then the next step that we took was we built a trust and orchestration layer. And to understand what that is trust is like you're an employee. You're allowed to see certain pieces of data. You're allowed to access certain systems. You're allowed to make changes or not make changes. And so that trust layer is how we identify what an AI engine can and cannot do, what access it has. And then we took the orchestration engine that we built in Calix Cloud and we expanded it out for AI. So now what we can do is in a trusted way as we transpose those cloud workflows into everything we're doing with AI, we can also ensure that the right people and the right agents are doing the right thing at the right time. So it's an expansion of what we already had, which is great. And all those components, the RAG model, the MCP, the data layer, the knowledge layer, and trust and orchestration, that was all built for one reason. You have to go slow to go fast. And to go fast, you have to have all those foundational components in place so that we can take action in a trusted way. So you can feel comfortable with that when that AI engine does something, that it's actually doing it in the right place at the right time. And that action that we take is what enables AI agents to go forward. And what's an agent? The best explanation I've heard of an engine is this. It is an entity that does a task, and it can reason, think, and make decisions and take action. It's like if I have anomaly detection, that's all it does, is it does anomaly detection. And then another one does microsegmentation, and another one does social media analysis, and another one does all of these different things. As you break up your work and look at the different tasks, every single one of those tasks is an agent. And so how are those going to operate under this trusted framework that allows you to have great outcomes? Well, meet the agents. So when we think about agents, there's 4 categories of agents. There's service, marketing, operations, and the subscriber. The one is actually connecting with the customer. They're categories of agents. And let's open up one of them. Let's look at a service agent. And so a service agent is the same thing. It's all the functions that you currently do in your service organization. So it could be Wi-Fi channel selection, speed test, install validation, or QoE analysis. And they all work together to help you do the most. But the key thing is that while service, these are all the service category engines, underneath of the other areas, operations, marketing, those different component parts, you have the flexibility to mix and match them and do other things. And in fact, after the break, what I'm going to show you is how you mix and match all these agents to actually build out workflows. Because how do we work today? Our teams work together as teams. You have your service team working with your marketing team, who works with your operations team to actually keep the business functioning. And as we look at these AI agents, and here they all come again, I'm going to make a point. The reason why we actually made these agents look like this is because they need to look like someone you want to embrace and someone you can't fear. And this is the key thing. Hey, come on, let's give a big round of applause, yeah? I posed for the dancer, just saying. But the reason why we actually chose these types of graphics is because we do think of them as someone to participate in and become part of your workforce. They're there to make your service team better, to help them do more, service your customers better. They're there to make marketing work faster and quicker, and walk through some use cases. They're to help your operations, your lines people, the installers, the folks who are rolling trucks, do better jobs, and then help better communicate with your subscriber. They're, in our view, that's why we called them our agent workforce, because we think they become part of your workforce and make you better, add capacity, give you the capability to do great things. And I'll leave you, before we go on break, with this last quote. Artificial intelligence is not overhyped. AI will not replace humans or companies, but those who use AI will replace those who don't. We've been on this 14-year, $2 billion journey. We've invested $100 million since November 23 in AI so that you're the one replacing your competitors who don't move as fast as you do. And I am super excited about where we're going to go in the end of 25 and 2026 together. Because never is it more important than us actually coming together to understand what the opportunities are, prioritize them, and help learn as we get them into your business, as you go through the cultural transformation and help your teams do more.